All right, team, let's go ahead and get started. Welcome, everybody. Buenas tardes and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our Dinero Toolkit Charla. This charla is the last of the series of HHF's year-long partnership with AARP to impact our comunidad through salud, dinero, y amor. To see the other charlas HHF has done with AARP, such as the Respectability Charla on people living with disabilities, or our Latinx Health, Mind, Body, and Soul Charla, please go to the Hispanic Heritage Foundation's YouTube page. There you will find the repository of all the charlas we have hosted throughout the years on various topics that are important to our comunidad. For today's Dinero Charla, we will hear the personal stories from members in our community on their financial success, as well as connecting to various resources to help reach our financial goals, which is great, as who doesn't like to hear motivational stories or have access to financial resources and tools. And team, before we get started, I would like to go over just a couple of reminders. So please go ahead and use the chat box at the bottom of the functionalities thing here in Zoom, and use it to ask any questions, raise concerns, or just give us energy. And please just ensure to use it set to all audience and not to the default of just the panelists, because we want everyone to see your comments and questions. So please double check that that is the case, as I am seeing some chats come in now. So thank you so much for trying that out. And mind you, we will try to answer all of your questions throughout the charla, in the chat, and in the Q&A window. We will also follow up via email and include all of the resources that are shared today. And lastly, this is not an AARP hosted event. However, as event sponsor, AARP always recommends that you consult your financial and tax advisor or lawyer for advice regarding your personal situation. So now, team, let's go ahead and get started. And first and foremost, I would love to welcome Veronica Segovia Bedon, the Senior Audience Manager of Hispanic Latino Strategy for AARP. Welcome, Veronica.
Thank you so much, Hector, and thank you for reading that sponsor disclaimer so that I don't have to. Thanks so much. I'm Veronica Segovia Bedon, and I work in the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion at AARP. It is an honor and a privilege to be able to speak and represent AARP on this important topic. AARP is the nation's largest nonprofit, nonpartisan organization dedicated to empowering people 50 plus to choose how we live as we age. So like the Hispanic Heritage Foundation, AARP is a strong advocate for the communities we serve. And the opportunities to sponsor sessions like this one help us ensure our Latino communities have the resources so that our money can live as long as we do. We are also committed to understanding our audiences, and we're conducting frequent research to adequately respond to our community's needs. In July of 2022, AARP's Public Policy Institute found that 64% of Latinos do not have access to workplace retirement savings. Stats like this one reinforce the importance of tools like the AARP Social Security Resource Center, which is also available in Espanol. One of the tools in this resource center is the Social Security Calculator. It's available at aarp.org/sscalculator, and this tool provides an estimate of Social Security benefits based on your earnings, history, and age. This helps us understand what we may want to do or when we may want to claim these benefits to maximize them. And in my family, tools like this one are helpful because I can help my family members who need or want this information in Spanish. Another resource is AARP Money Map, and that's a free tool that's available in English and Spanish that enables us to manage our finances by helping us create budgets and manage debt or pay down an unplanned expense. Financial literacy is so important for building long-term financial stability, and we know that student loans, retirement, and insurance planning are tough. They're tough to navigate, and ultimately they impact our financial security. AARP also offers the Savvy Student Loan Repayment Tool, which hosts frequent workshops where you can tune in to learn how policy updates may affect you and your family's student loans. You can check out this resource at aarp.org/student loans. And AARP's Interview and Advisor tool prepares you to meet with financial advisors by equipping you with the right questions to ask, understanding what your goals are, and what you should listen to determine fiduciary responsibility and what is in your best interest. So I'm so excited to hear from all the amazing speakers today. I'm honored for this opportunity to open the session and to remind you all of the tools that AARP offers. I encourage you to check out aarp.org/money for more information about the free tools that I've mentioned here today and to help you achieve financial health. Thank you and enjoy the charla, everyone. Hector, back to you.
Veronica, thank you so much. And thank you, AARP, for supporting and ensuring and creating space for this charla and all of the charlas throughout the years. And thank you so much for all the beautiful and wonderful resources that you provide for our comunidad, like the Social Security Resource Center, and for things that affect directly me, how to pay back some of those student loans. So thank you so much, team. And so to kick us off with the charla today, we have Jen Hemphill from Wichita, Kansas. Go Shockers. Jen is an AFC, an accredited financial counselor, and the host of the award-winning Her Dinero Matters podcast. Jen, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much, Hector. And wow, the Shockers, you did your homework there. I love it. Well, I'm really excited to be here. And I'm pretty sure that those that are here and watching this or that watch this later, chances are that when it comes to college costs, your first thoughts are the student loans that you have, or maybe hopefully you had, you pay them off, or how astronomical college costs are these days. Or maybe you have a senior graduating in the spring and you just don't know if you can pay the college that they're currently eyeing. Or you're wondering if college is really worth it, right? Is the cost really worth it? So I wanted to share with you a little bit of my story, or our story, because we're living this. So just to give you a little bit of background, my parents were the first to go to college. So we had that edge of being second generation to go to college. And one of the things that I saw growing up was the struggle my dad had with the student loans. He had student loans for a long time. I mean, I was probably in college and he was just paying them off. My mom, on the other hand, being from Colombia, really worked hard to get scholarships, the becas, and to really be able to study here in the US. So college was ingrained as like the next step, which naturally came ingrained as the next step for my kids or for our kids. So I'm a person that likes to be prepared. So this is what we did. As soon as my kids were born, we opened 529s. So we started saving. It wasn't a lot because we didn't have a lot of money, but we put some money in there. And we didn't tell the kids because that was the thing. We got to keep it a secret. Once they get to that stage, they need to work for those scholarships. We also hired a college admissions consultant for our oldest. So she started working with him his freshman year. And we were making sure we were following the sound guidance that we needed to make sure that we put our retirement first and not put all the money into the kids' 529s. So it sounds like we were pretty prepared, right? Well, let's fast forward. The year 2021 came, and that's when our oldest was graduating from high school. So the college acceptances were coming in along with those lovely financial packages that they were offering our son. But this was spring. Of course, tuition is due in the summertime. And as much as you'd like to think that we were prepared because we did all these things, right, that I shared with you, we experienced sticker shock. We did not feel financially prepared. Now, fast forward 2 years later, as in 2023, just this past month, we thought we had things under control. Again, I'm a planner. I like to prepare. And of course, you may or may not be aware that of this term, the EFC, the estimated family contribution. So with the FAFSA, they decided based on our earnings that they didn't have to help as much. But here's the kicker. 2 days before tuition was due, again, we're in August, right? College is around the corner, it's starting. We were informed that we needed to pay something significantly more than we were prepared for. Again, sticker shock. So we're still negotiating. We are still figuring things out. And why am I sharing this with you? Is because you may be in a similar situation like us, or maybe you have student loans that are overwhelming, right? Or you have the upcoming college student. And my message here is just be resilient, to not stop looking for solutions, to not be afraid, because I know we can be stubborn. And as Latinos, we have a lot of pride in ourselves. Don't be afraid to reach out for help. There's always having a second eyes on your finances is super helpful. And before you decide to take out student loans, and lean on organizations such as the one here, the Hispanic Heritage Foundation. I know Veronica shared some resources as well. And so there's also just recently, if you have student loan debt, there's that new program. See if you qualify. So I wanted to share with you that sometimes you plan as best as you can, you prepare as best as you can, but things don't work out. They don't fall in the way that you plan, but you just have to be resilient. You have to press on and lean on others, reach out for help. You don't have to do it alone. So that's what I have for today.
Jen, muchas gracias. Thank you so much. And thank you for speaking about the 529s option and that ability, if you're able to hire a college admittance consultant, but then also, team, to always be prepared in case things don't go the way that you expected them to. And as you mentioned, never be afraid to ask for help and lean on folks. And thank you for also bringing up the new SAVE plan from the Biden administration to look into that, because that's something absolutely critical that definitely directly affects me. So thank you so much for bringing that up, Jen. Really appreciate that. And thank you for being here today. And team, up next, we have Abby Zapote from Washington, D.C., who is the Senior Advisor to the Commissioner of the Social Security Administration at the Social Security Administration. So Abby, welcome. Nice to see you. And thank you for being here.
Hey, Hector, thanks so much for having me. And I almost feel like a little bit of an HHF alum since since you all hosted me when I used to lead Latinos for a Secure Retirement in DC as well. So I'm really happy to be here and happy to be representing the Social Security Administration. I think before I start, I really want to share that, really one of the reasons why I was very passionate in going into retirement policy as my career, even though I started on the immigration advocacy front, is because a lot of our community, continues to rely on family, which I think inherently is something so beautiful about our community and our culture. But I know that even when I was a little kid, my mom would always talk to me about, how I was going to be her retirement plan. And it scared me so much because I think, number one, I was undocumented. So kind of the possibilities there, I always had a question mark over. And secondly, to me, I always had this, I guess, didn't really understand because I was undocumented, what a social security number actually was or how it could benefit me. All I knew and all I understood was it just gives me the ability to work and it prevents me from being deported, right? So to me, when I actually found out what benefits and services the agency actually provided to families across the country, it just really helped me be a better advocate to help the Latino community better understand what these benefits and services were. And so I'm going to provide a quick overview to folks that are listening to us on how Social Security is there through your life's journey. And I do want to say that I'm sure we're talking to young folks here who are similar to me as well, who are usually the translators for the family, or even when they're looking at administrative forms, they have a bunch of question marks like, what is this? How am I supposed to answer it? And they go to you to help them explain this. And I will say that I understand and we understand at the agency that our forms are actually very complex, and sometimes folks might need additional help and support, whether that's coming into a field office, giving us a call on the phone, or actually getting representation to help them through these processes, because they can be very similar to immigration processes. But I digress, but just want to share a little bit more insights there. So if actually, I can go to my next slide. So what I want to share with folks is that we are here with you from day one. And what does that actually mean? So as an agency, we actually provide everybody with a social security number card when they are born. And we collect all of this data, right? Because we need to provide folks with their little card that they receive in the mail. But with that, we actually get to know everybody's names that come in through the agency. So I just wanted to share a nice little trivia that the top baby names for 2022, the last year that we got all this data from, are Liam and Olivia. And so if folks are spending a lot of money on baby books, you actually can go to ssa.gov/baby names, and you can get data, I think, since the 50s on all of this information. You can search by decade, et cetera. So just a fun fact that, our website could be a little bit more useful, especially if you're looking at baby names. So just little trivia for folks. But I do want to share that, of course, as an agency, we administer the Social Security number card. And you can go to ssa.gov/number-card. If you're looking to get a new Social Security number card for a child, usually we actually do this through hospitals, so folks actually don't have to come into the office to do this anymore. But if you lost your card, if it was stolen or if it was damaged, you can always come in to the agency or do it online to update this information. And one of the things that we just recently did to ensure that we were as inclusive to gender diverse and transgender people is we actually updated some policy to allow folks to self-attest to their sex identification. This is, what we're doing to ensure that we're providing equitable service to folks all across the country who may identify this way. So they don't have to bring in legal documents or any medical documents to self-attest to their sex. So just wanted to share that with folks who may have family members who they themselves want to make updates to their Social Security number record. Additionally, we also provide Social Security cards for immigrants. So as a former undocumented person, once I actually got my permit to work, so whether you're documented or applying for an immigrant visa, et cetera, your information will also come to us, and we provide these Social Security cards, whether you're allowed to work or not. And so I wanted to share this information because if you have folks that aren't not limited or are limited English proficient and need some additional support, we do have our ssa.gov/multi-language gateway at that website where they can get more information in various languages to help them go through processes within the agency as well. And ultimately, what I wanted to share here is that we'll be here for your family in the future. So what does that actually mean, right? What does this mean to us? And one thing that I always try to, make clear to folks is that we should be planning for our future, right? Sometimes we think about planning for the next 5 years or maybe the next 10 years, and retirement just seems so far away. But I did want to share these statistics, and these are statistics generally for the United States, but I will say for Latinas actually have the greatest life expectancy up to age 87. And so that means that Latinas who are listening to us should be thinking about the retirement, because this means that you'll be living longer, which means that if you want to have a secure retirement, that means that you should be, storing away a little bit more money every paycheck or as you can, and listening to great colleagues like Jen Hemphill, who provide some really great insights to help folks how to do that. But I just want to make sure that folks have that in mind, because we should be thinking far ahead into our future. And before I continue on, I also just wanted to ensure that people knew how to contact us if they're looking to apply for benefits. So yes, we're looking at retirement in the future, but as an agency, we also provide additional benefits beyond retirement benefits. We provide spousal benefits, disability benefits, or Medicare only benefits. So I do want to share our phone number, 1-800-772-1213, available from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday. And I do want to note, if folks are Spanish speakers, you call the line and press 7 and you can speak to one of our social security number social security technicians who can speak to you in Spanish. And I'll be talking a little bit talking in a little bit about our survivor claims, considering the environmental catastrophes that we've been facing as a country, whether it's fires that are occurring in Hawaii or across many places in the country, and or just weather events that have been occurring as well, whether they're tornadoes, tropical storms, etc. You can file survivor claims for yourself as a spouse if you lost a loved one, or if you have children who have lost a parent. So, I just wanted to make that note because I know that there's folks that are struggling right now who might be, who might not know that this benefit is available to them. So again, 1-800-772-1213 to talk to our technicians. And again, these survivor claims can only be done by phone or in the office, but of course, sometimes those offices may be difficult to get to, especially if you're in one of the catastrophic zones. So definitely jot that number down. All right, and I know that we probably hear questions about Social Security in the future all the time. Folks, in the media have said this often, and I think it helps continue the conversation that folks say, oh, Social Security is not going to be there. Social Security is not going to be there for me. But as long as we have folks working in this country, Social Security is going to continue to survive. Yes, we have reached the brink of asset reserve depletion in the past, but Congress has usually stepped in to make some changes, and sometimes they step in a little, too close for comfort. But I don't want to put my advocacy hat on, but we just want to make sure that folks know that we are here to serve. And I've never worked with folks more committed to ensuring that people get the benefits that they deserve. And so take this information as you will, but just know that, we are here to serve and that we are working with dedicated colleagues who want to provide these benefits and services to you. All right. And as I said, we as an agency will continue to be here as long as folks are working. And so we're with you when you start work. I know that folks, when they turn 16 and get their first paycheck, they wonder, who is FICA and why are they taking all my money? But actually, it's not a lot of money. It's 6% coming from your employer, 6% coming from you. But that means that you have insurance in case anything disability related happens to you, if you lose a spouse, if you have children, that there's a benefit available for them, and of course retirement benefits when you become retirement eligible. So again, everybody pays into Social Security, especially immigrants and especially undocumented folks who unfortunately, because they don't have status, will never I'll pause there, but might never be able to get these benefits. And so know that the community is really helping keep the agency sustainable in one way or another. Also, currently 180 million workers will pay into Social Security taxes in 2023. And about 94% of all workers are covered by Social Security. So again, just want to make sure that folks know that these benefits, they're paying into them and that they might be eligible for these benefits as well. Just a little graph there to share that currently our beneficiaries, we have 63 million Social Security beneficiaries. 5 million are supplemental security insurance beneficiaries, and a small percentage of these 2.5 million receive both. And I'll get to a little bit about what the difference of these benefit programs are. We also want to share that we're there for you for your wedding. This means that if you're getting married, you're making, you're accepting your spouse's name, you come to the agency to make those updates as well. But as I said, this also means that you might be eligible for spousal benefits since you are getting married to someone. And what we do want to share is that Also, again, if you have a child with your spouse, they might be protected as well. And so as of December 2022, 2.7 million dependents of retired workers were receiving $2.4 billion in monthly Social Security benefits. And in the same month, 1.2 million dependents of disabled workers were receiving 576 million in monthly Social Security benefits. So again, putting, I guess, numbers and dollars to who our beneficiaries are and how much money actually goes back to the people that pay into this program. I'll skip over this a little bit, but just know that there are spousal benefits here, and there are benefits for divorced spouses as well if they don't end up remarrying, and if they were married for at least 10 years. So again, information for folks who might not know that these benefits are available to them. And again, as I mentioned, we're with you if the unexpected happens throughout your lifetime. So we do have some disability benefit statistics here. So as of December 2022, Social Security paid an average monthly disability benefit of $1,300. However, that's barely enough to keep a beneficiary above the poverty guidelines, which means that we can opt in, and this is a little bit of our disability insurance, but that means that some folks might be eligible for our Supplemental Security Income Program, which pays for basic needs for folks who are 65 or older, for folks at any age, including children who are blind or have disabilities as well. Another link that I want folks to jot down is at ssa.gov/SSI/start.html. Make sure to capture that .html because it's really important. You answer 10 questions and our colleagues at SSA will follow up with you in about 2 weeks to schedule an interview with you to gather the additional information to complete the SSI application. Remember, this is for the most underserved populations in the country, folks that are living below 150% of the federal poverty line. But if you know anyone who might be eligible for this benefit, please feel free to either share this link or actually walk them through the 10 questions. We encourage folks to help people, especially if they're your, your cousins, abuelita, et cetera, who might be eligible for these benefits. Please help them answer these quick 10 questions and we'll follow up with them. Also, if they apply and they get a negative medical decision, they can always appeal this decision. And I feel like that's something that I wish I knew when my brother was going through the immigration process. And as I said, these processes can be lengthy, government processes. And so just know that you have the right to appeal any decision that we make here within the agency. So just want to make sure that folks, again, are aware of that. And lastly, we're there if you lose a loved one. So again, we have these survivor benefits that folks could be eligible for. We have specifically benefits for children as well. And so here is this additional site that folks can jot down as well if they might be eligible for benefits, survivor benefits for children as well. And there are other survivor benefits. Sometimes folks might have seen on TV that we have a lump sum death benefit of $255. Of course, that doesn't sound like a lot of money, but some folks might be eligible for that monthly survivor's benefits. And so if you think that you are one of these folks or know folks that might be a beneficiary, please share this information with them as well. And lastly, we wouldn't want to miss your retirement party. And I think at this point, I've probably gone over my allotted time. So I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity here. Social Security is here for many things throughout your lifetime. We start at giving someone their Social Security number card, but continue through them to give them that additional support throughout their lives. So thank you all so much and appreciate the time today.
Hi, Abby. Thank you so much for that plethora of information and for starting it. As I'm sure everyone on this call can relate, we're all essentially the executive administrative assistant for our families and rely on us to do that type of work. And so really appreciate you letting us know how Social Security follows us throughout our lives and the insights on how to think about it as we age, how to apply for cards, but most importantly, for all of these benefits that I didn't realize existed. So thank you so much for this wonderful information. Team, I know it was a lot, so we, just so you're rest assured, we will get that information and a copy of these slides to be able to follow some of these resources and links that she shared. Abby, once again, thank you so much for your insight and wisdom on this. We really appreciate the work that you do. Team, joining us next, we have Aureli Pacheco from New York, and he is the Senior Vice President and Private Client Advisor at Bank of America. Aureli, take it away.
Thank you so much. Man, I have to first take a stance and say, gentlemen, we're going to be a little behind here just because the actuary tables are against us. Age 87 for Latinos, we're hurting a little bit here. It's going to hurt, but we're going to make up for it, though. It's going to be okay. Abby, you are always amazing when it comes to Social Security. You're such a genius when it comes to it. I'm grateful that you're always around. And also, Jen, when you spoke about sticker shock in college. Believe me, I'm still paying for my degree at Cornell, and every single time that payment goes out, I'm like, man, it hurts. Could be a mortgage payment. So understand, we are all there. We are all in the same place. And as I was thinking about what I'm going to speak to today about financial education, because I think that's a key thing here, is about educating people and making sure that product goes away, right? I hate people who sell product all day, people who say, you need to have this, you need to have that. Let's talk about pure education for the next generation, which is the Latinos today. They're educated. They have this disposable income. They're thinking more than just doing what their parents did. They want to be philanthropic and give, right? These are different instances of way things get done. And number one thing to do is, have an account. It's okay. Have a bank account somewhere. It doesn't have to be a Bank of America. It could be any great institution that will protect your money. Start from there. Number two, save, right? Save. Don't just think about getting a paycheck and blowing right through it. Save a good portion for it. I see someone else noted too that their loans are still being paid. We have that same thing. Income taxes. Okay, I'm going to go through a couple different things here, and we'll send the links out afterwards too. Income taxes are always going to be paid. They help Social Security the way you pay your FICA at that 6+6, right? Sometimes you're self-employed and you pay the 6% plus the 6% as well. Income taxes are a necessity because they help us as a society be in a better place, better quality of life, right? As things get better and we do better, sometimes like our families, I heard that Latinos are the ones who have the most profit in real estate. And what does that mean? We buy homes. There's a will, there's a way. You stack the house with 20 people, everyone's going to pay their share, but the house gets bought and people help each other in this community to make that happen. Okay, the way the next generation I think about it's going to be more of them themselves and their immediate families. But we have been able to teach our generations about real estate investing. Okay, saving for retirement. I think, Abby, you hit it on the head so much. Social Security is a piece of the puzzle, but not the entire part of it. College savings is a piece of it, that 529 plan that Jen alluded to, but it's not the entire picture of it. If you're going to have children, start saving from day one. I know that sometimes there's a question. Do I pay for formula? Do I pay for college? Let's get that together. All right. We'll be able to figure those things out. As your situation does improve, I know you'll be able to do a little more to put more away for school for that child. They'll thank you one day when they go to that better institution. And being said with that, buying things, cars and homes and yachts and mansions and all these things we dream about, you have to have basics of credit. Without credit, you can't get extended anything. I know folks who have very little in savings. They have something called cash flow, which means money comes in, money goes out, and they're still able to get credit because that's how the banks look at us. Okay, so think about this again. Is that how much you have? Yes, it's a piece of the action and a piece of what you do have, but how much comes in, how much goes out, how much you're able to save, and how great you are at paying makes a big difference. You'd be surprised how far credit can go in your advantage to help you get ahead. And it's called leverage too. It's their money. Use the bank's money. We want you to use our money. Don't just use your own, right? Something that our parents did. Stuff money on the mattress, stuff money in coffers. stuff money in shoes, and then when they need it, they pull it out. Thousands of dollars are coming out. No, do it in an institution because they'll be able to report it, do it better, and it helps you down the road. You don't have to walk into a car dealership. You'll be surprised. Hey, I can actually get that car. You can. You show it. But remember, buy wisely. Don't just go for the most expensive car on the lot just because you can get it. So think wisely. I think about something here, and as we think about it, right, there's accumulation of assets and wealth. You're going to work, and I know the Latino community believes in working its rear off, without a doubt. But you got to create a plan. You have to create a plan. You want to buy a home? Create a plan. You want to buy a car? Create a plan, right? It's like me telling you, hey, I heard you're going downtown today. And you telling me, yes, I am. First question is, how are you going to get there? Simple, basic thing to say to someone, I need to get there. But how? Create a plan. Find an advisor. If you can do it yourself, there's so many different tools online now to help you get there. Some people can do complimentary. Just feel free to reach out. We'll be glad to connect you within the institution of what happens, right? Now, I'm going to change gears a little bit, right? What happens when the unfortunate happens, right? You have to come into money because someone passes away, right? Create a plan. You should help the next gen. And I heard this, you're like the chief administrative officer, and I say this because even I am too, to my mother still, but I need you to think about planning. And what happens here in this aspect is the following. You may come into money because your parents may have left a home, some assets, something, a business, right? That it was profitable and they left it to you. You come into money, you may not know what to do. And that's okay. Some people are really good at what they did. If you put me inside a florist shop, you put me inside a sandwich place, you put me into different institutions, I would fail miserably. Construction work, I would fail. My father, rest his soul, would probably say to me, I'm ashamed of you, but I'll tell you, it never was my art and skill. Now, painting, yes. General contracting, absolutely not. I would probably burn myself and hurt myself compared to making something, build anything great. It would look sideways. So I know I have to reach out to folks when it comes to that type of expertise. Do the same when it comes to your finances, okay? And this planning also goes into other life events. Buying a home, becoming one household, which unfortunately, we're going to say this out loud here, ladies and gentlemen, we do get married to get divorced. As we know, we look around the table, and I know you know your friends. Don't have to point to yourself, but you have friends who are married and got divorced. Those that started a family, multi-blended families. Like I said before, giving back. Last two things I'll talk about real quick is protect yourself online. We have so many instances right now of data breaches going on. Take care of yourself online. Watch what you post. Watch what you put online. Phone numbers, public information, anything like that can take you off. Just try to find me on LinkedIn right now. Mine was hacked personally. So that goes to show you, even someone like myself can get attacked in such manner in a state. And then these last words I want you to think about. Understand your purpose in this world, okay? I want you to think about not who you are, right? Not who you want to be, but who you want to be known for. What did you do in this world to make a big difference, right? That legacy that you leave could be completely different than what our parents did for us. Leave a legacy of trust, leave a legacy of commitment, leave a legacy of honor. And I say that because the hard work that our parents did to help us get here, whether it is through documented or undocumented manners, is called sacrifice. And you don't want to just let it all go away. I said a lot in the past couple of minutes real quick, but I definitely thank Hispanic Heritage Foundation, HHF, every single time for inviting me. I know AARP is not a sponsor, B of A, we're not sponsors, but we're committed to giving you information. Social security planning is crucial. The things that Jen spoke about are crucial. Believe me, and the speakers that are coming after me are just so much more amazing. Believe me. Stay in there, stay committed, reach out to us. We are a community that's meant to help and give. And with that being said, thanks so much to everyone. Have a great afternoon.
Man, Mr. Pacheco, thank you so much. Thank you for encouraging us to leave a legacy, but also, man, for you and focusing on educating our gente. and the next generation through financial literacy. And as you continue to say there, and planning for what comes next, whether that's for purchasing a car, applying for a loan, or for buying a home, which is also a great segue for our next speaker here, Omar. So next up team, we have Omar Gonzalez from Montgomery County, Maryland. Omar is a realtor at Rise Residential Group. Mr. Omar, the stage is yours.
Thank you so much. So the reason why we never found a measure of wealth is because we never sought after it or pursued it. This quote is one of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite finance books, The Richest Man in Babylon, written in 1926 by George Clason. I personally love this book for several reasons. One of them is because the novel teaches its readers about the fundamental principles of finance, money management, and investment through parables. The second reason why I love this book is because it was one of the gifts given to me while I was in my early 20s, figuring out my life, of course, by one of my tios who said, Omar, read these books and you will thank me when you are 40 years old. Okay. Fast forward. I'm 36 now, happily married, the father of now 4 children, and I speak to my tio every week about money, finance, and financial aptitude. And yes, although I am not 40 yet, I do thank my tio for those books, right? Why? Because that small investment my tio made in me was one of the catalysts that sparked my career and mission to this day. So as shared before, my name is Omar Gonzalez. I'm the founder and principal realtor for the Rise Residential Group of Arla Real Estate in Washington, D.C. and Montgomery County. We have had the honor of helping many individuals achieve their life goals through real estate for the past 10 years. And my story is no different from many of our clients. Many of the people here on the charla or many other people in the world just seeking their place, right? I'm proud to be a first-generation Latino American whose family is from El Salvador. And my goal was and is to break the chains of financial hardship and create new legacy and generational wealth for the future generations. But how can we do this, right? Maybe we feel stuck because it feels like everything is bad right now, or the news says we should be worried, or we're a little bit fearful, right? Or maybe we think there's no opportunity. Well, when I began my real estate career, those times felt a lot like these times. The world was recovering and seeking to find its way from 2008. Those times created a lot of worry and concern and what I call analysis paralysis, if you will, over anything financial for individuals. And I get it's totally understandable. But we do know now, because numbers and stats show that in economic times like these is where net worth millionaires are created. And the avenue that was chosen by those people at an incredibly high percentage was real estate. Of 7 recommended sources of income, real estate is 4 of the 7. Okay, so what are my next steps, right? Like, how would I start my journey in real estate or investing and so forth? With that said, and what some of the previous speakers have shared, is that our analysis of money, right, is one of the wisest things that we can do. Seeking wisdom through books, conferences, foundations, charlas, the incredible people on this panel, those are some of the best resources, because the biggest decisions must be the most informed decisions. And understanding that there are programs out there to facilitate first-time home ownership, as well as loan products to help individuals build their portfolios. But what we cannot do is sit back and say, I will wait for the right time or I'll let it fix itself. We must pursue opportunity because the opportunity is out there. Our community, specifically Latinos, have done an incredible job of positioning ourselves for the future, not by sitting on the sidelines, okay? We've done it through being proactive in real estate. NAHREP, the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals, shared some stats. Hispanic ownership rates have experienced steady growth over the past 8 years, reaching 48.6%. Our demographic is the only one that can say it has achieved that 8 continuous years of home ownership growth. Since 2014, that is a 24.4% growth in home ownership, now totaling 9.3 million households that are Latino. Latinos were young, were strong, with a median age of 30, 8 years younger than the median age of the general population. Latinos, we also trend younger as home owners. according to Home Mortgage Disclosure Act, 70.6% Latinos purchased a home and were under the age of 45. That is better than the 63.9% of the general population. Additionally, Latinos boast the highest share of home buyers under the age of 25. So, Omar, what does that matter, right? A bunch of people are buying homes, and yeah, what does that mean for me? Yes, they're buying homes, but let's shift that perspective just a bit, okay? Through home ownership, through investment, through building our portfolios, our communities are preparing for retirement. They're creating legacy and generational wealth, and they're breaking the chains of previous generations that had to sacrifice for us to have this opportunity. So in this time, especially, the opportunity is there to make the shift from dream to reality, right? Because statistics show that in these markets, the most wealth is created. Home appreciation, the leveraging of property, its tax incentives and options are doing well and outpacing other items, 401ks and other things like that by wide margins, while creating opportunities for new businesses and funding education for our kids and creating an early and happy retirement, okay? So that journey starts with money management and accountability of our spending, specifically us deciding on our needs versus our wants. So, which then positions us to be ready to make the proper investment decisions. So let me land this plane right now. What I hope our community will take away from this is that we need to hold ourselves accountable with our spending, our money, and our finance. And we need to seek understanding, wisdom, and knowledge, and not be ashamed to reach out for help, because it is out there and people do want to help. Then at readiness, we need to take action. Then do not wait to buy real estate, but buy real estate and wait. So that's my time, guys. Thank you guys for everything. And I hope you enjoyed that.
Omar, thank you so much, man. The richest man in Babylon. I've got that on my next reading list here. And as he mentioned, team, remember, plant the seed today. So thank you, Omar, for the actionable steps and information on how to think about making these big decisions, especially around home ownership and the importance of money management, to look into our financial freedom in our more adult lives and more wise lives as we get older. So thank you, Omar. Team, next is Jasmine Chavez from Reston, Virginia. Jasmine is a confidential assistant at the White House Hispanic Initiative. Jasmine, the stage is yours when you're ready.
Gracias, Hector, and thank you to the Hispanic Heritage Foundation for inviting me to be a speaker today for the charla. As a 2015 Hispanic Heritage Foundation Youth Awardee, I am very thankful for this opportunity, and it feels like a full circle moment. I do want to mention that I will be speaking in my personal capacity as the Virginia LULAC State Director for this conversation. And so this is such an important discussion. I'm really glad that you were able to bring me in because, growing up, money was something that my family always struggled with. I came to the US from El Salvador when I was a baby, and my parents literally had $20 in their pockets. And so coming here, my parents always struggled with money, putting food on the table was a struggle. And so oftentimes they sought out food banks in order to feed us, in order to put us through school. And so I am thankful for all their sacrifices because they now have 3 college grads in the family. But they did all of that through 2 full-time jobs. I would remember my parents leaving at 6 in the morning and not coming back home until 11 p.m. And unfortunately, this is the reality for a lot of members of our community. And so when it comes to college, when that time came around, I told my parents that I wanted to go to college, and they told me that I could only go if I had enough scholarships to cover my tuition. And so thankfully, my sisters and I, we worked really hard to do well in school so that we could get enough scholarships and a few loans to cover school. And, it is no secret that Latinos struggle financially. In 2021, Latinas in particular working full-time were paid approximately 57 cents to every dollar earned by a white non-Hispanic man, according to the National Women's Law Center, which is truly really crazy to think about. And, With COVID, things only got worse for our community. COVID took a huge toll on Latinos nationwide. According to the Pew Research Center, Latinos say they and their loved ones faced widespread job losses and serious illness due to COVID-19. And so really talking about this issue, I think, is super important, especially now. Growing up, I knew nothing about money. The only thing I knew was that we didn't really have any. And so as an immigrant myself, I knew that I wanted to start that chain of generational wealth so that my kids don't have to struggle as much as I did. And so during the pandemic, I really took it upon myself to learn more. I reached out to a financial planner and started teaching myself everything I could about money. And it completely changed my life and was the best investment I ever made, because she really walked me through the steps and just knowing about the different terminology about how to make sure that I was financially successful now, but also in the future. And I also really love, mentioning Nelly Galan's Self-Made book, because I think for me, reading that book provided me that empowerment that I needed to really take charge of the finances in my life. In her book, she says, don't buy shoes, buy buildings. And I keep that in mind every single day, because I really, I want to create that generational wealth, and I want it to start with me. And so I really want to, echo the resources that the different speakers have mentioned. In my role as the Virginia LULAC State Director, we work to highlight issues important to the Latino community, and one of them is financial literacy. We will have a new state director starting on Monday, but if you are interested in hosting a financial literacy event or attending one, please let me know. We're always really happy to host these different events to support our Latino community. But thank you again, Hispanic Heritage Foundation, for this opportunity. And if you have any questions for me, let me know.
Absolutely, Jasmine. Thank you so much. And thank you for being open and for sharing your story and the steps that you're taking to take charge of your financial security. And what a beautiful full circle moment. And it's glad to have you here. Team, for our last speaker, last but certainly not the least, we have Claudia Rivas, who is calling in all the way from the beautiful sunny West Coast in San Francisco. And Claudia is a wealth manager and senior vice president at JP Morgan Asset Management. Claudia, thank you so much for being here. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Yes, so my name is Claudia Rivas, and I am a wealth manager at JP Morgan Advisor, as Hector said. A little bit, just 30 seconds on my background is that, and also most importantly is that I'm a board member, proud board member of the Hispanic Heritage Foundation. So part of my background is that I'm an immigrant. I was born in El Salvador, but I actually was raised in Mexico and here in San Francisco. And so it's interesting because I love eating pupusas and I love tacos. So that's kind of a side note. And then I had a really interesting background in terms of growing up. It was a little bit rough, but that led me, unfortunately or fortunately, to becoming a young teen mom. So I had my son when I was 17. I got pregnant at 16. So I have Christian, and then I have another child, Daniel, who's 11 years old. So I'm a working mom. And I went to school. I studied economics. I got my MBA right after because it was really important for me to figure out how I was going to make money for my son, because I was a single mom. And I started Wall Street right after because I met a mentor of mine while I was working who told me to get in there because it would be a good opportunity to get into a world where you could really understand how money worked and how it moved and why it moved, and which at the time is really important to me. It still is, but I needed to figure out how to hustle and figure out how to get my son a good life. And so fast forward, I work with the team. We're one of the top 22 teams in California. We're on Forbes Best in State, which is a big deal because I always wanted to see someone with my name on it. So I'm really proud about that. in all these years, there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk to people about because I have like kids that are such different age, but also because of my background that led me to really be able to build a very good standard of living for my family and I, and also change the trajectory of where we come from. Because I come from a very humble beginning. So I wanted to talk about basically 2 points. One was just how to think about becoming a millionaire, and also how to change your mindset on believing that it's achievable. One of the things that's really fascinating nowadays is that a lot of people have difficulty waiting because there's like all this social media stuff that gives the illusion that everything's so quickly available, or you just have to pay for a course and then you could get rich quick. In all the years that I've been in this business, which is over 18 years now, that doesn't work. There's a free lunch in the stock market, and that's to be diversified, stay the course, and stay in the markets. So interestingly enough, I also had a tío. He was from El Salvador, and he was a very wealthy tío that I met at a networking event, funny enough. And he also recommended The Richest Man in Babylon. So I really highly recommend that. It does really have to do a lot with mindset. So the great thing about meeting him early on in my career was that he told me that you have to invest. He's like, the government doesn't have money. This is at the height of the financial crisis. He's like, the government doesn't really have money. Like, there's no money around. You have to have your own money. So that like freaked me out. So I was like, there's no way that I cannot have money. I have to have money. So I was like kind of extreme and made sure that I always like saved as much as I could. Nowadays, I think it should be a little bit easier because there's something called fractional shares if you don't have as much to invest. And I believe Robinhood is the one that came up with that concept. So even if you don't have $100 that you could be saving every month, start with $10, $5, whatever you can, get used to it. Invest in an index fund, leave it in there. That's the free lunch. You will make money. Over the average of 94 years, the stock market has returned 8.5% adjusted for inflation. And you don't have to do anything. It just has money working. Money is just working for you. That's another concept that's really, really, really important for people to understand is compound interest. Basically, it means money making money on money. So it sounds pretty simple, but it is like critical and crucial that you think about keeping it simple, because it really is that simple. I think the biggest issue that people have is that they don't believe that, but it's true. I can attest to it. And that's, so number one is definitely start early, start often, and be disciplined, save every month. Even if it's a little bit, just create that habit of making sure that you're putting money aside. And I did it. I was a young mom. I had student loans. Interest rates were lower at the time, but I think that with time, you should be okay, and you will make money 100% if you stay the course. The other thing is just the mindset is, I think the biggest issue that sometimes we deal with is not believing that we can get things done. And so like, think of somebody that you admire and what you want to be like, and just you trick your brain into believing that it's achievable, even if you don't believe it's achievable, because you will start acting as it is, like as if it was. And I know that's like it sounds silly, but it really does work. So, just make sure that you stay positive. And that always have faith that everything will always work out, stay the course. My kids, I tell them about investing all the time. I have two very different children, and both of them, I tell them that they have to be patient. They've been investing since they're 8 years old, and it's never too early to get started. So make sure that you, again, stay the course, stay positive, have faith, and really believe that it can be doable, because it can, and it's achievable. That's all I have, guys. Thank you.
Claudia, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your personal story and those very actionable items and encouraging us to think about how to invest, when to invest, and knowing that it's never too late to do it either. So, and it's never too early to start. So thank you so much for that, Claudia. And thank you for your service on the board for the Hispanic Heritage Foundation as well. Team, so thank you all so much for joining. We have reached the end of today's Dinero Toolkit Charla. A big thank you to AARP for making not only this charla possible, but all of the other charlas this year and in the past years. A big thank you to all of our incredible speakers who were able to share their expertise, personal stories, and offer valuable resources. We will be sending out an email later this afternoon with the charla link to rewatch, as well as with the contact information and the resources that our speakers have shared today. So please be on the lookout for that email. And then also, team, we have an upcoming charla that will be in person, and it will be on identity. It'll be held on September 6th, again, which will be in person in Washington, D.C., and the invite for that will be going out shortly. Outside of that, team, thank you all again so much for joining us. We hope everyone has a good rest of their day, week, and soon to be weekend, and we hope to see you all soon. Thank you so much for joining us.